I promised everybody I was going to go live again. I did. I passed the dog walk. Taking a nap. So, I'm going to probably work on this project because yarn work takes hours. So, sometimes we can talk and do yarn at the same time. And that's a lot of times what I do. And I figure I'll do this until the husband comes home. Alright, this is this and I'm not doing anything significant with this. I'm still working on this. And I completely finished this. So I'm making the inside of that. That's pretty much all I'm doing. Once you get it to this level, it's like you could just, once it drops down, you get it. And each row is like where it's braided in. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your fifth one is on your needle. I mean, it's so easy. But anyways, me and my friends been talking a lot about the solar eclipse. I think it's April 8th. It's going to be seen just anywhere, everywhere where I live. So, and honestly, anybody who believes that space isn't real, how is there a solar eclipse? You know, how do we look at the sun? I mean, I grew up in a religious family, I guess, per se. My dad was Lutheran, and my mom, she was Catholic. My mom's side of the family was Catholic. My dad was Lutheran. And the thing is honestly, everybody kind of, it's like they want to, all these priests want to be right all the time. They don't want to see any other side or any other opinion. It's almost like they're at times a monarch, depending on like how old school these guys are. They're not very open-minded a lot of times. I guess that's my biggest beef with the old school community. And a lot of religions that this happens to, you lose you lose people. Like, honestly, you lose. Like, I believe the Amish, like the old religion, is fading out, and they say that, you know, the more people are coming, getting away from the Amish stuff, the more the kids are keeping up the tradition. It's sometimes, I mean, I grew up in a like Roman Catholic, which is even more strict. I do believe in God and things, but the thing that I do believe that still, you know, is that people have different aspects of God. And maybe, you know, Catholics want to change with the times too. That's why some Catholics become Christians. And they all sit there, the old time Catholics, and say there's no space. And it's like, why is there an eclipse? Honestly. It's kind of scary, you know. You look at what really is out there, and if you think of it, all these black holes surrounding us and everything, it's a lot. It's enough to make you. It's just enough to make you nervous, honestly. We're in a fragile spot in the universe. A lot of the planets that surround us are not life inhabitable. And the religious community really doesn't say much when you ask them if you look up at the sky. And they'll say, well, God made that. And you know, I do believe God did create the universe. But the thing is that, they say it's the new apocalypse, and this and that, and this could happen, this could happen. I guess it very well could. Honestly, but this stuff could happen at any time. Even a lot of scientists are saying there's times where they've looked at the telescope and stuff, and we've come so close. And to having meteorites and asteroids and everything in direct areas. And a lot of sometimes these asteroids and all that happen sometimes when they'll go on Antarctica or just different parts. Because a lot of times when they're exploring Antarctica, this is what happens. They see like pieces of space in these waters. And honestly, they say there's different life forms now in the waters, or there's unexplored areas. And I think life adapted. Maybe on one of these meteorites, there was one cell of a creature or something that formed into something else. Or even scarier. Maybe it introduced an element to our ecosystem that could possibly start melting our polar caps. We don't know the impact when you add a new element to everything else. Two elements like H2O. Two oxygen, two hydrogens, one oxygen. They come together and make water. So you introduce a different chemical to anything, it's going to create a new element. There might be some like new elements, like maybe. And honestly, I was even thinking maybe some of these things that are happening could be because of different elements coming from like just space itself. And it could be causing our polar ice caps to come, and it could be introducing new cells. And maybe a new race is evolving. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not afraid to die. I really don't want to die from a natural disaster. I have better ways to die, but I guess in the end, it's not my choice what I do or how I die. I mean, I wish to die a different way, but I mean, I guess it's not up to me. And if you want to, whatever you want to say it's up to, God, the universe, or whatever, it kind of almost is the same thing in different ways. Because to me, you know, it's there was a meteor that obviously hit the dinosaurs, and religion can't say that there was no dinosaurs because they have skeletons. So, I mean, it's very troubled times we live. And maybe honestly, some of these people that in the past, I believe there's people that have abilities that can see things. Maybe people that were close to death and their mind awakened. I even think, I know it's an ongoing theory of mine, but I think if you die, they say we don't use 100% of our brain, which I do believe that. I believe when you die and people have gotten really sick and came back, they're using more percentage of their brain. And maybe that technically is the third eye. I mean, it's just something to think about. Because I was thinking, I listened to things about people that die in their accounts and stuff, and they have certain common elements. And I'm sure there was people in the past that have died and come back. It's just not new to our culture. It's not. I'm sure in the past, even though there wasn't maybe the best medical knowledge, but there was people that that was probably saved. And we don't know what kind of intelligence other beings have had before human beings came. Because we had the dinosaurs and they could have been really as smart as us. We don't know. I mean, we really don't. You know, and then there's scientists that say that some people have like a different chromosome in your brain that's brought on by different things. So I mean, everything's like a big mystery these days. I mean, you know that something's going to happen, and you know, and you see just random things, but you don't know really what to believe. But I do believe that maybe the Earth does shift a little bit when this happens, and I don't think it's a natural disaster. I don't think the end of the world's coming. But we do know that the world, you know, we go on a different axis and we turn and stuff. Maybe somebody was enlightened and they seen the earth turn. Sometimes when you die, you see the universe. These babies always see you know everything when you're a baby, then you forget it all. And then when you die and come back, sometimes you remember what you knew as a baby. And maybe, you know, they just, since they died and come back and they seen one thing, they think it's the end. Maybe this is when the earth kind of moves around on an axis and shifts around in different things. I mean, we don't know. And that's the thing. If you don't really know, you just don't. I mean, you're not going to know because you're not there. We're born now. We're not born in the past. I believe in reincarnation. I believe we live many lives. And I believe the paradox and different things they talk about, I just believe they were other lives. I mean, I believe you live, and I do believe in time paradoxes because I do believe in wormholes. And honestly, if you have a bad feeling about something, sometimes it's because maybe you lived it. I almost think, to me, black holes are like mirrors. And I say that theory because of all of the different kinds of stuff they do. And they say that, you know, they could produce wormholes. And I think sometimes the universe does, but it mirrors us. And it creates time paradoxes sometimes because we are living a moment and we're doing something. We're not just a meteorite or a rock, and I think they mirror us. I really do. And I believe there are other life forms. Obviously, they're not going to look like us. I do believe that, yes. You can't not believe in other life forms. We see dinosaurs were here before us, then we evolved. I mean, to me, it's irrefutable facts. If you see it in a museum, you dug it up, and you see it, how can you deny it? But I just think that the universe is so vast, some things get mirrored. And I just believe that the black holes are like one giant mirror. At the back of the mirror, it's dark, but when you look into it, you don't see a lot because you're looking at one. But when you go inside, you see, you know, the material of the mirror and stuff, and it reflects. I think these black holes are like giant giant mirrors, you know, and they're useful because They suck things up. They're like the garbage bins. And they probably help a gravitational pull. I mean, maybe I'm thinking that they could be bad and good at the same time. And if you have a lot of black holes in one area, if you were an alien spacecraft, you really wouldn't want to mess with it because the gravitational pull would pull you in. Because that's what I think they are. They have a lot of gravitational pull. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like they have a lot of it has a lot of energy. Obviously, it's like a supernova of energy, and we all know that there's supernovas of energy. But I think that energy can also create mirror holes, and they're mirroring the life around you. You know, and life is special. That's why it's important to respect life. Because I feel these wormholes mirror us, and sometimes, you know, they can bring things or take away things. I mean, I think that's pretty much just the theory of these. I could be wrong, but anybody can be right or wrong. And if you want to look just at the basic bare facts of what they are and leave the math and the science aside, a simplistic explanation would be that. Yeah, we're not going to know every bit about the black hole. We didn't create them. We're not out there. We didn't see deep space. We don't see any of these things. And if you were able to see it, you would be dead. So then you couldn't tell no one about it. But I literally think they're just giant mirrors that could pull you in. But that's just me. And maybe at certain times, maybe aliens have come down. But I think their aircraft has to be work at a certain gravitational pull because we got the Milky Way, and maybe they come here because they can. If they were to land, they can land a little better because of our gravity in our coordinates. Maybe that's the only thing that they really need is a good landing place. I mean, this is possible. If you think about every other planet in our solar system, they're not, like I said, they're not inhabitable. So this would be the perfect planet because that's what we would do if we were on another planet. We are trying to land on other planets. We are sending space signals out. We're trying to decipher math and send out signals and trying to signal life. So maybe they have stuff and they're just tracking our signals. And we give ourselves away. This is a possibility also. But the thing is giving ourselves away, we don't know what kind of being we're dealing with. We could be dealing with multiple aliens at this point, in theory. Or we could be just dealing with one. But I think there's an offshoot that at times it could be different kinds I'm going with. And it doesn't always have to be in 2 feet. Possibly they evolved into an animal, like I said. And they're all different kinds of aliens. Maybe they do have cloning things where they could duplicate that or anything, or maybe not. Maybe they just are like us, they land on another planet and hope for the best. That's a possibility too. Some people really, they don't think about these things. I mean, I like to think about these things because to not be aware of things means when things happen, you don't have a game plan at all. I would think they would be trying, in theory, they would be trying to adapt to our planet and find a way to be able to breathe and this and that. That I do believe, and it doesn't have to be like these movies like Alien Invasion and this and that. It really doesn't. It just could be these weird, unique animals that just appear. It really can. Or maybe they just, I mean, I don't know. It could be anything. It could be just one cell drops to the water and then something just appears. An alien species could be sharks. We don't know. Maybe some of these animals that is real hard to kill off and die off that survive in our oceans, maybe these are our aliens. I mean, it's possible. It's possible they're not on land. They could be aquatic. I mean, I'm not seeing things like that where people are exploring these possibilities. They could be a whale, it could be a fish. I mean, it could be anything. But I'm thinking if we are, if aliens did come visit, and let's say there's like, they would maybe try to tinker with our soil and little things like that to make it more habitable for them. And they would try to just maybe be alone and try to evolve and try to just live here. That would be what I would think, and I would think aquatic would be. I think in the ocean would be a better option for them. Above land, since we're above land, it wouldn't be where you want to be. Just like when me and Chong go out, we want to get away from people. We go backwoods or different places. The backwoods version for an alien landing on a planet, and probably would be, I would say, would have to be an area that was isolated, away from humans. So I'm thinking it would have to be a colder area or just an isolated one. So you probably find them in deserts or heavily wooded areas. And maybe our government did find some of these aliens. They're very curious people. Governments are like that. They want to know what's around it, and it's their land. Everything is their land. Is it really our land? Just because you have your name on it doesn't make it yours. You didn't create it. It was created by something else altogether. So it technically can't be your land. It's no one's land. It's just the earth. I guess that makes me a lot less materialistic, I guess. Because I don't believe that we have ownership of the earth. And honestly, your house. Yeah, you have a nice, some people have nice, expensive houses. Eventually, you're going to get sick. Mostly everybody gets sick before they die. You're going to get sick, go to nursing home, and you're going to have to sell it or your kids are going to take it. Did you really own anything? You like spent your whole life trying to get this house, which is good. And then one day, you get old, whatever, it happens. Didn't enjoy your life much because you worked so hard for this house, and bam, it all gets taken from you. Life is very precious. If it's precious enough to bring aliens to want to have life and explore different planets, honestly, is it so different thinking for that line of thinking. I mean, maybe we should be more focused on these kinds of issues instead of how we are so materialistic in everything. Because those expensive pair of shoes, once you're dead, aren't gonna matter. You're gonna go in the universe and find out their secrets, and that's it. Whatever energy you put out there, you're getting back. Sometimes in the next time you're born again, this time, whatever. It's just not worth it to be greedy, and it's not worth it to try to take ownership of the earth. It's not worth it. It's just not nice to hurt the animals of the earth either. To me, I just don't believe in stuff like that, but it's the way the world is. But this eclipse, like I said, it proves that there is space out there. And I think everybody would agree when they're watching this eclipse, because me and my friends are planning to go and see this eclipse, because, I mean, it's something you should see. It's fun, and and you won't see it for a long time again. It's the way these things run, because space is so vast. Enjoy the moment. That's what I say. Because there's a lot of bad things out there. There's a lot of good things out there. There's a little bit of both all the time. And if you dwell too much on one thing, you can't enjoy another. You just gotta let that bad stuff go and all that greediness go, because in the end it really doesn't matter. And I mean, that's just the way life runs. I'm just happy to be alive and healthy. Because I mean, life could be really bad for you. Life could be really good for you. But you were born. You gotta look at it that way. And you're here for a purpose. So you gotta do it. Whatever the purpose is. There's a lot of different purposes people have. Some are to gather, some are to bring enlightenment, some are just to maybe try to help somebody. And it bothers me when people aren't nice to one another, or people are just hurting people, or just being ignorant. There's no, the world doesn't need to be like that. I believe that all these are learned behaviors. I really do. And people that have learned behaviors all the time. They really do. Just like if you listen to psychiatry videos and stuff, abuse is a learned behavior. You you hate your mom or your dad because they abused you, but then you turn around and do the same to your children. And until one person breaks the cycle, that's it. And that's just how it is. And I feel greed is kind of like that too. People that are greedy, they have good intentions, but greed could lead to human suffering. It really can. And it always does, because they want too much. They want millions of dollars. They don't want to just live simply and just be happy and be one. People just want to control this or that and make these kind of shoes and that kind of shoes. And before you know, all these different chemicals get put in the water. Things get contaminated. Animals get poisoned. And then, it And sometimes it takes away from the environment. It could do a lot of things. Because I get people want money, but this all started with a lot of times in ancient times, it was a barter system. And we created money for just some kind of currency just to kind of keep up. And then it became some status symbol because you had a lot of it. And to me, I feel, I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. Just because you have a whole lot of money in the bank, or like in ancient times, a whole lot of gold, how can that make you a better person? If anything, people are just wanting to live a little better, so they're looking for these rich people to be with, and they really kind of miss the whole meaning of life as they went along. Because you weren't meant to. I mean, it's fine, I guess, to have currency, but it's another thing to be nasty about it and take away from people and things. Just like these corporations, they go and they take over, and they don't think of the little people or anything else. No one wants to come together and make the world a better place because you would have to lose the greed. That's the thing. Greed is not good. But the solar eclipse that's happening, and I think I'm really tired. I believe it's April 8th because we're all going to see it. I mean, it just proves that it's a miracle we're here and space does exist. And you have your like old school Catholics that don't believe that space exists. Look up in the sky. How are you walking? I mean, it's just basic things, but it's okay for people to feel that way as long as they're not being greedy. I feel at this stage of the earth and people, I feel we became really greedy. And when you become really greedy, kindness and stuff like that go out the door. And just little moments like seeing the eclipse with your friends. This is something I'll remember when I die, is seeing that eclipse. Because I remember the last eclipse that happened. I was with my husband, and he had to wear those special glasses to see it. And it was exciting. It's something I'm going to remember when I die. Because I kind of want to make, before I forget and die and I'm born again, I kind of want to remember how I lived for the moment. But I guess maybe people say I overthink things, but this is just kind of how I roll, I guess you could say. But it's life. But I'm stoked about the eclipse. I mean, I'm too tired to think all the details, but I'm sure it's all over YouTube. I'm positive it is. So, to me, I mean, and like I said, the world's just, I guess there's always been greed. People were greedy and probably hoarded things. But I would hope that someone out there eventually breaks the cycle and maybe we can have peace, but I don't think we're ever going to have peace. Peace starts with no greed. And could we ever get to that goal? I don't know. There's so much greed in the world. That's the problem. We have all these things going on, And people forget about the little stuff. But I do believe, honestly, that the aliens did come here. I do believe that maybe they left some chemicals that maybe even created life or different forms of life. And they did, and like I said, everybody's telling me how they're supposed to have this and that happen, but there's been a lot of stuff that's been pretty much prophesized this is going to happen this year, and it never did. And they made movies about it in Hollywood and this and that, but it never happened. I believe the world's going on maybe some kind of axis or something. Like I said, there has to be something of that sort going on. But that's just my humble opinion. I don't think we're going to have all this crazy weather going on. I think we're just going to see the eclipse, and it's going to be a big gathering, and then it's going to be over. And it's going to be something you remember on your deathbed. That memory will flash in your brain, and the people that you love the most will flash in your brain, and hopefully they're good ones. Really, hopefully they are. I hope for everyone they have good ones, because to die lonely is really sad. And I'm not going to be lonely on this eclipse. I'm not worried about a world catastrophe, because I'm going to be with my friends, and I guess if I do, if there all this stuff does happen, at least I'll know I lived till I lived, and you got to see an eclipse where you die. I guess that's a upbeat. I mean, no one should be afraid, because honestly, if you're predestined to die, you are going to die. There's no going around this. Everybody has their date with death. So you might as well enjoy it and just respect the space around you, I guess. I guess that's really all you can do. But I guess on this part, I'm going to I'm gonna try to like do these talking streams and dog walking things. I'm gonna try to, because I gotta make the middle of this, and I gotta make this wider. And when I do this, I'm taking this and sizing it, and I've almost got it. You see, it's like that. So I just need to come down longer. Measure these out. When you measure them out, just put them on top of each other. It doesn't have to be complicated measurements. I'm going to make it a little bit longer so when I'm sewing it in, it's not so bad. I'm going to try to finish the square where I'm over here. Move it in here. But that's all I'm constantly doing this. Or that little stitch that I had in the episodes before this. Because I haven't finished my whole square yet. I'm just trying to extend this out. Because I was going to work on one of these rugs for my resident. Because she liked my other rug table so much, so I told her I was going to want to knit the middle of it. So probably for hers, I'll be like a purple thing I make. Since she likes purple so much. Purple is a good color. Honestly, I don't have any favorite color. which I do, but I don't. I like black a lot, but I really like green, and sometimes I switch back and forth with what colors I like. It happens a lot with me. Sometimes I can't decide if I like blue, if I like green. I kind of like them all. I like the different varieties. Always kind of been that way. But I'm just working some of these rows down, so maybe on the next one I could start over, and when I get through with this making the middle part, I could show the stitch again because I'm going to probably do like 4 of these and then sew them together. And then his rug will be done. Because, I mean, I like to do this, like I said, it's very calming. And I enjoy it. And it's good to do something you enjoy. It really is. It gives me joy to do little projects and knit and things like that because it's something that I did. So I don't really bother with things and worry about things in my life because of this. But I'm gonna try to at least get this longer. And then probably try to do like an hour stream, or pretty much almost an hour. The good thing about when you're knitting, it really kills time. Like if you're waiting for, like if you got a couple hours waiting for someone, you can always start on a blanket or a little rug or just a little project. Save yourself some money. And people appreciate the handmade stuff. They really do. They always do. Things like that they really appreciate. And they're really nicer to you afterwards because you made it with your own 2 hands, so everybody knows you put effort into it. That's what the one thing about knitting is. That's the good thing about it. Because everybody knows that effort you make. And that effort is important in life. It really is. But like I said, I'm figured I'd start and end the project. Today I did the dog walk and I'm working on the middle of the next little square we're gonna put together. So I'll be able to actually do that and then show you again how the slip knot and all that because we're gonna have 4. We're gonna have 4 of these like this. I mean, that's my goal. I'd like to make them. I mean, without goals, what do we really have in life? You must have goals, or you're just kind of running around in confusion and you end up being a part of someone else's goal. Whether it be your mom, your dad, the military, or whatever. It could be any variety of anything. You kind of want to be your own person. I like to be my own person no matter what. I mean, don't be like, you might, I mean, I think certain people are cool, yes, but you don't have to be just like people. Be yourself. Alright, there. I'm just giving them a little haircut. Sometimes it's good to give things haircuts. Because, see, keeping that there. And then you're just doing another rose because I want to make it kind of long enough to where I got the body done. So maybe tomorrow I could do the braiding and we could do another one. and then knit those two together, because that's what we want to do ultimately, is knit them two together. But sometimes when I'm knitting, thoughts occur, but that occurred to me about the apocalypse, the thing where they say about these eclipses. Maybe it's a shift when it's rotating all around the earth. It's a shift and we're going on axis maybe just a little bit, or turning just a little bit. I mean, we don't know. Anything's possible. I, just studying and looking over at space and different things, I really just believe that. It's everything could be a random coincidence. But I do believe we turn, and maybe at times even flip. That's why on Antarctica there's evidence that it was tropical and now it's not. Maybe the earth just goes through these cycles. It makes sense, honestly, if you think about it. Earth is always going on a cycle and it's rotating, and it's not going to stay the same. It's not. So, honestly, that's what I think. I mean, you guys can tell me what you think, but I think it does go on a cycle. I think when the sun completely goes around the earth, or the moon completely goes around, or we're on an axis of rotation. Maybe one day a disaster will happen. And when that happens, everything might just die off like the dinosaurs. And they were even saying in Antarctica they think they might find dinosaur bones. So maybe like something like an eclipse, or there was enough tilt or an access to possibly kill off the dinosaurs. I mean, that's a big possibility right there. Maybe they were just killed off from the tilt of the earth. I mean, you never know. I mean, there's always random possibilities of different things. But, I mean, that's just my opinion. You're going to have yours, and that's what makes the world wonderful. Is everybody has an opinion. And opinions are important. They make you think. They make you think calculated. And then you're going to listen to different people because you have these opinions. And it's good to question things around you. I mean, if you think about it, science is just questioning the universe around us to try to make sense of it. But, I mean, to me, it's like that. But someone else, it could be scary. But I think we always, being in this position, we're meant to have life until maybe one day an asteroid or a black hole pulls us a little closer. That could happen too. I mean, people don't think about that. I mean, that these black holes, they do kind of scare me. I don't know if I'd want to be near a black hole like that. I really don't. Like I said, I have better ways of dying. So, but these are just things that I just tend to think about. But tomorrow, I'm going to try to knit this, and I'm going to do a stream for Facebook and Instagram. Finishing the middle of this. And I will be back tomorrow for the dog walk. It seems to be very popular these days. And thank you for listening. I don't really see anybody in there now, but if you listen to this later, thank you. Belated thank you. And I appreciate your watching it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's support or just you're just nosing around YouTube, but I hope you're enjoying your YouTube experience. And I wish I could sing or something, but I can't. So I hope you have a good day and a good night, and I will be vlogging tomorrow. And have a good day.